Hello and welcome to another year of the One Income Family podcast. I am so excited to see what God has in store for this podcast this year. And to start it off, we are going to talk about goal setting. I don't know about you, but if you are anything like I was, goal setting was not my strong suit. I had no idea how to do it, nor did I want to do it. Or I didn't even know what it was about or what it meant, because when I thought of goal setting, it meant long term. It meant 10 years down the road. It meant 5 years down the road, trying to figure out what you wanted to be when you grew up, right? Because that's what people would ask you all the time. And I never really looked further than maybe a week or a month into the future, because I enjoyed the life that I was in. I just went with the flow. I didn't care about it until I started getting, should I call them problems or desires of mine to grow, as I became a mom, as things in me shifted, and I'm like, oh, I want to do this for my family, or I want to become better at this for my family or for me because it sounds fun, right? I'm excited now to create goals around them so that I can achieve them and see the progress that I'm making as a person, because that's what goals are. They show you the progress of your growth. They show you how much you're growing and what you now know compared to what you didn't know. And that's what's so exciting. And that's what I want for you. So this episode is going to reveal to you what your true financial goals are. Most think of financial goals as saving money, going on vacation, paying off debt, buying big ticket items, and creating emergency funds. But there's so much more to it. And let me tell you, it's the little hidden financial goals that you don't know you have that make you feel restricted. So go cuddle up with a nice warm drink, get comfy with them babies, and open your heart to God as we settle in to today's episode. Do you find it hard to save or get out of debt? Are you constantly searching for ways to save money and live on a budget? Do you have big dreams only to be stopped by not sticking to your budget? Are you ready for financial freedom? Then you, mama, are in the right place. Welcome to the One Income Family podcast, where you will learn what it looks like to budget on one income, how to partner with God in your finances, how to budget in a way that's easy to stick to, and how to cut costs and save money, all so that you can start building wealth. It is my mission to equip you with these tools so that you can live in abundance regardless of the amount in your account. Hey, I'm Molly, a budget coach for stay-at-home moms, and I know what it's like to struggle on one income. I've lived paycheck to paycheck, relied on being frugal, and failed many budgets until I learned how to budget without tracking. This has allowed my family to pay off debt and build wealth all on one income. So, if you are ready for financial freedom, then go grab that stroller, plug in those headphones, and let's get to it. If you're ready to stop living paycheck to paycheck, then I want you to listen in as I walk you through a budget audit and what it can do for you. A budget audit, simply put, is a way for you to fix your finances. You'll learn what's going on in your budget, why you are living paycheck to paycheck, why you are struggling to stick to your budget, where your money is all going, and you will walk away knowing what steps you need to take to fix your finances. These steps will allow you to be able to do more than just pay for your necessities. You will stop living paycheck to paycheck and find yourself saving money. You'll be getting out of debt, going on vacation, and even have some wiggle room. So hit pause right now and send an email to mollybennell@gmail.com letting me know that you would like to book a budget audit. Again, that's mollybennell@gmail.com. So that's MOLLY, B as in boy, ENELL @gmail.com. And let's get this going for you. Alrighty, so like I said, this episode is to help reveal to you what your true financial goals are. Most, think of financial goals simply as those big things like saving money or paying off debt. But it's the small things that make it fun, or it's what we actually want out of our money, but we don't think about it. And I know that a lot of the times the people that I help, I have seen this. I've seen them want these big things that they dream of, But in all reality, they're so used to just living on a tight budget that they just want some spending room. They want to be able to do with it what they want, right? And so these big ticket financial goals, they're great and all, but they're not really a reality in the season that they're in, for the reason it's not something that makes them feel joyful. It makes them instead feel restricted. And I want to stop that. And it wasn't until, recently I was goal setting and I'm going through my goals and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are the things that people are actually looking for in their financial goals. These are the things that they just don't necessarily see them as financial goals. And so that's what I really wanted to share with you today is the lessons that I've learned just simply setting my goals for this year and what it is that I see the financial side of things, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through my personal financial goals. I'm going to share with you the things that I've seen and help you to then set up your own financial goals based off of what is a true desire of yours. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, they might be some big saving ticket items that you're wanting to save up for, like going on vacation or going and getting yourself out of debt. But there are some other smaller things that you might want to focus on and put into your budget as well so that you aren't feeling neglected, you aren't feeling restricted, and your money is actually helping you to not only grow as a person, but to also really see the personal growth and the financial growth that you are going to achieve. Because again, it's not just those big things. And if you only focus on those big things, you are going to feel restricted. You are going to feel like you aren't able to do anything else. And yes, there may be a time where that is something that you need to focus on, is cutting out all extra spending so that you can get that big, huge financial maybe debt that is just crushing you out from on top of you. But for the rest of you that don't really have that big, heavy weight on your shoulders, it's something that we tend to put on ourselves because that's what we are trained to do. We are trained to look for that next big money item thing that we need to be saving for or paying off that debt, right? And so I just really wanted to walk you through my goals today as I share with you some of the smaller things that are going to help you to feel less restricted and are still some goals that really are going to bring light and joy into not only your life, but your family's life and your spiritual life and your personal life and everything in between, because you're using your finances to grow you as a person and not simply as a tool that either makes you feel restricted or safe or all these things that we can put this pressure on ourselves that money has to be, right? Money is simply a tool, and it can be a tool that makes us feel restricted, or it can be a tool that helps to bring us joy. And I don't mean the small, short-term happiness that comes when you buy a cup of coffee. I'm talking about long-term growth as a person, buying little things that can create a hobby that you enjoy, right? Or maybe it can be something that is like giving money to somebody, which makes impact on somebody else's life. Money is a tool that can be used for good and bad, and that is obvious. It's in the Bible, right? But I don't want us to focus on that. I want us to find the good in money. I want us to find the things that are going to grow us as a person, to grow our financial strength, and not simply in our management, but also in our mental mindset of it, right? So, with that being said, I'm going to dive into, I have 3 points that I'm going to share with you today on how to set up or find your financial goals and what they are so that you can create financial goals that you can reach on a limited income, because that is the goal here, right? That's the ultimate thing that we want to be able to do, and we want to not feel restricted in the process. So the first thing that I want you to do is simply learn what what you actually want to do with your money financial goals are. Now, you may be saying, well, obviously that's the first step, but how do I do that? You do that by doing a brain dump. So You can think of this kind of like as in January, you do the whole, oh my gosh, what's it called? New Year's resolutions, that's what it's called. You can start by thinking that way, but I want you to get a little more into it, a little bit deeper. I want you to do a brain dump of everything that you want to do and not just the basics, right? Okay, so what I do, how I do this is I do a brain dump or I create a bucket list of everything that I want to do. And I have, I think, 7 categories. So I have my personal goals that I want to achieve. I have my family goals. I have my household goals. I have actual financial goals. I have marriage goals, household goals, and, I said household. I meant homeschool and business goals. So those are my 7 categories. And yes, in those goals that I've written down, some of them need money, some of them don't. And that is how I'm going to find what those true financial goals are. So step 2 is then to find the financial aspect of your goal and if there is one. So you may have written down something like I did in my personal category, which is more hobbies. I'm not very good at doing my own hobbies because I'm so focused on everyone else, which I'm sure you're right there with me. But I'd like to get into doing more hobbies. Now, I wrote down reading because I really enjoy reading and I love growing and learning. I've always said that if I could get a job where I'm always learning or going to school, I would excel because I love doing stuff like that. So, reading is something that I love to do. But that takes a financial aspect, right? I either have to buy the physical books, I have to do the online version. I personally don't like online because I don't like reading on a screen. I prefer an actual book. So maybe that means I go to the library. So that could make it cheaper. I don't have to buy the actual book. I could just rent it from the library. You can do that also with ebooks as well. But you get where I'm going. There can be a financial aspect to it, or it can be a cheaper way of doing it. Either way, I'm still reaching that goal. The next thing that I have in my personal is to regulate my sleep. Now, that simply just means that I have to get better at going to bed on time and waking up at the same time. I used to be good at that, but because the girls have been getting me up constantly throughout the night because we've been sick a lot, I haven't been able to really get my sleep regulated, and so I've been struggling. I'm sure there could be an aspect that is financial to it, but I am not going to go that far because I think I can just get more disciplined and get myself doing it, right? If I move into like my family stuff, I would like to figure out a way to parent more like Jesus. And that is something where I can just look into the Bible and research there, or I could get deeper into it and maybe buy a course on it if that's something that I really want to do. It's all a matter of how deep you want to go. Now, my bucket list that I tell you to do, it's just like a brain dump of everything that you want to do. You want to just get it all out. Does that mean you're going to go through and write down the exact way you're going to achieve that goal? No. Do you want to do that? Yes. Otherwise, it's just a New Year's resolution that you look at, think about it, and it disappears the next day and you never actually take action on it. Yes, you need to actually create a SMART goal, I think is what it's called. It's been a hot minute since I've thought about those. But you want to be able to actually figure out something that's strategic and measurable and I forget what the R is, being able to know that it's actually there, right? Look up SMART goals. You'll be able to get it much better than what I'm like trying to regurgitate that is not there right now. But yes, when you actually sit down to achieve these goals, you want them to be an AKA SMART goal. You don't want them to be open-ended or they don't become achievable because you aren't able to actually reach something that is immeasurable, right? So that's not where I'm at right now, though, when we're trying to learn what our true goals are. I simply want you to do a brain dump of everything that you want to do in each one of these areas. In my household, I want to focus on cleaner products and cleaner foods. So yes, that has a financial aspect to it. How deep into it do I want to go? What is the depth of it? I'll figure that out later when I actually sit down to figure out how I'm going to achieve them. But right now, just sitting down and figuring out what everything needs to have financial money tied to is a huge step in being able to achieve goals on a small income. Because when you go out and you're like, oh, this is something I want to do, but I don't actually sit down and make a plan as to how I'm going to do it, then it's just like I said, that New Year's resolution that you looked at once, you thought about it, and then it got tossed to the back. And then you're like a few months down the road, oh, I really wanted to do that, but I never actually created a SMART goal around it to take action on. So I want you first and foremost to learn what your true goals are. And that's simply by doing a brain dump, because that is going to share and bring to the forefront of your mind what it is that you actually want to do with your life, the fun things that you want to do, the growth that you want to bring, maybe with your relationships, maybe with your homeschooling if that's something that you do, business, your house, your family. All those things are important to you, and you see, problem areas. I don't really know if I want to say that, if that's the right phrase, but that's generally where these goals come from, right? Is when we see problem areas that we need to AKA fix, or we have desires that we're like, oh, I'd really like to do that and make this better for my family or become better in some area, right? So from there, again, learn what your true goals are by figuring out what your desires are, what it is that you want to do throughout the year. And then find the financial aspect of them, because that is what your financial goals are. Yes, there's going to be, again, the pieces of it that's simply like buying, say, a camper or paying off debt, something of that sort. But there also needs to be other aspects to it more than just those. That's generally where sometimes our, sinking funds or savings buckets, whatever you prefer, come from, because we start to save up for those things that we really want to do. Like maybe we want to start bulk buying our food. That's something that we could have as a goal, right? So when it comes to that, then after we've done this brain dump, there can be so many that you wrote down. Like if you look at my page, my bucket list page, it is full of all these goals that I want to do. So my next piece of advice is not to set too many goals at once. So what I do, or what I've been doing, is I have my bucket list, which isn't, again, it's not the down to the nitty-gritty goal setting kind of thing, but they're my ideas of what it is that I want to focus on in the areas, right? They're my focuses. And then I take them and I do a 90-day, so a 3-month goal setting thing where I take each one of those categories and I set 3 or 4 for the 3-month period goals in each of those 7 categories. And those are the goals that I focus on during those 90 days. Now, maybe if I didn't get them done, I will continue them on down the road to the next 90 days or whatever it is that I feel like I need to do. If I need to change something up, if life happens and I need to rotate things in and out, that is what I can do. But simply by creating your bucket list and then turning it into a 90-day, or you could do even a 30-day or a 60-day, whatever you're comfortable with, amount of goals. So I would do, if you're going to do a month, I would do like 1 goal in each area a month so you don't overwhelm yourself. And that might even be a little bit too much. You're going to have to play with it and see what works for you, right? But I would do that so that you can see which goals actually have a financial aspect to it. For instance, when I said that I wanted to do strength training 3 times a week, that is like a SMART goal. I want to do cardio 3 times a week, so then I'm getting that workout in. That's simply me just going on a walk, so there's no financial tie to that. But the strength training, I could go online and I could find cheap ways of doing it, just looking at YouTube, or I could buy a program, or I could go somewhere and do strength training with someone. Like, there are so many options, and I just need to decide which one I'm going to follow. Am I going to go the cheap route and not spend any money and like take up all my time and figure out what it is that I'm going to do? Or am I going to buy something for the year like I have been, because I really love my Pilates program? But each year is going to be different. Maybe I don't have the finances for that this year. So I find something else that's maybe just as good, but at a smaller price point, right? There are so many ways that I can do this, and they're still going to make me feel joy, because it's things that they're growing me as a person. They're making me healthier. They're making me feel good. I'm getting the sleep I need. I'm getting the food I need. I'm getting the exercise I need. I'm working on financial growth, which for me, this 3-month period is to create a 3-month meal plan so I can start bulk buying and then share with you what I did, right? So that is a goal for me. To get back into my budgeting routine, because I have fallen off these past few months with how crazy hectic life has been. So I want to get back into that and create a stronger routine and a different routine, because it's going to be different with this type of meal planning. It's going to be like a different way of thinking, and I'll have to relearn and create a new habit around that style of meal planning. And that, does have a financial aspect to it, but then there's also the non-financial aspects. And so that's mainly what I really hope you get from today's episode, is that when you set a goal, you need to look at, is there a financial tie to it, or is there not? Is this something I can do that's mainly going to take up my time, or do I need to use my money to be able to buy these things that are going to grow me as a person, that are going to help me see the progress that I'm making as I grow spiritually, personally, financially, in every area and aspect of my life, in my family, my relationships? Do you need to start budgeting time with your kids, like to go on trips, to go on dates is what I'm looking for, because that is so important. That's an important piece for me. Like my husband and I, we haven't been doing very good in that area. And so we are going to start doing a monthly date away from the kids, and then maybe do a second monthly date with the kids, so that we can get all that area just really focused on, but still have some time alone to ourselves without the kids, because that is necessary to keep a healthy relationship, right? And so I just really want you to see how there is a financial tie to the goals that you have. And those goals are going to be the things that you want to put into your budget. You want to add them in there, whether they are a part of your weekly allowance per se, or your monthly expenses. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. Whether they're a part of your monthly expenses, like dates could be, or whether they're a part of your savings buckets, like bulk buying would be. So you really just got to see where it needs to be put into your budget, so that you can actually use your money to bring joy to your life and help you grow as a person, because your budget is more than just money being thrown at things like food, like your necessities that make you feel just like, oh, I'm on a bare bones budget. I don't feel good. I feel restricted. This is not fun. That's not what I want your budget to be like, and that's not what you should make it feel like either. You need to figure out what your true goals are. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to sit down and actually implement it? And then dive into it, right? Start taking that action, because that is how you're going to create a budget that you enjoy, that you can follow, and that is easy for you to implement, instead of something that feels like you're pulling your teeth out with. Okay, so that was a lot of information right there. But I really just hope you understand that what I really wanted you to get is how to see financial pieces in goals that bring, growth, that bring joy, instead of just things that we see in our budget every single day that simply like are necessities, or things that just don't feel as excited about, things that we're just like, oh my gosh, this is something we have to do. We don't have a choice, and there's no fun in it. So I really want you to see that there is fun in your budget, and that you can put that fun in there, and you will be able to do it without really struggling even on one income. So If that's something that you would like to do, if you can't see how this could be something that you can implement, definitely reach out and grab a budget audit with me and let's do some goal setting. Let's figure out some things that you want to do, find out the financial aspect and plug it into your budget so that you're not doing it alone and you can actually see how it could work. Does that mean that you have to actually use that budget? No, but it still gives you an idea as to what it is that you could be doing. It helps your brain not be stuck in the cycle of this is what I have to do, this is how it has to be. You'll be able to see the whole picture. So again, to get yourself a budget audit, all you have to do is send me an email to mollybennell@gmail.com, simply just letting me know that you would like to book a budget audit. Again, the email is mollybennell@gmail.com. That's MOLLY, B as in boy, ENELL @gmail.com. And I look forward to brainstorming with you and getting these ideas on paper and putting them into your budget so that you can see it actually work for you. Okay, so with that being said, I will see you right back here next week on another episode of the One Income Family Podcast. Before you go, I hope this episode has ignited a fire inside of you, and I pray that it creates long-lasting impact. Did you know that you too can impact other one-income families? All you have to do is leave a written review and you help get the podcast in the hands of other mamas in need. You can also text this episode to that friend who is also knee-deep in the same kind of chaos as you and inspire them to make a change. Also, your review lets me know that you're enjoying the show, and that lights me up. I get so excited to hear from you. Another great way that we can connect, though, is through the One Income Family community over on Facebook. So after you're done leaving that 5-star review, head on over to the community where you will find other mamas working their way out of the chaos. You can ask your questions and connect with others who truly understand what you are going through. I cannot wait to connect with you in the community. Until then, I will see you right here next week on another episode of the One Income Family Podcast.